Welcome to ILFL Soccer Night. It's Monday night, and as normal, we have lots of football from the ILFL around our hamlets and the neighbouring boroughs. So, good evening, welcome. I've got Az on my right joining us, and Rash has come off the hot seat onto the cold seat. So, welcome, gents.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think, obviously, we'll go straight into the action, which is the first two league games, and then we've got the Challenge Cup and the Champions Cup. So if we start off with the Tigers versus your own team, as Hawken Eagle FC, how was that?
Well, it was a great performance by my team. We won 1-0, which was a must-win result. We needed that result. As we spoke last week, Rashid, about it's a massive battle between relegation between us, and it was a massive, we were saying it was a 6-pointer as well, which it was. In terms of performance, no disrespect to London Tigers, but we had quite a few chances. I think in the first half we had about 4 or 5 chances where we should have actually finished the actual game off, but you know when it's just 1-0, you know anything could happen, and in the second half we started tiring and not used to actually winning. You could see the panic coming into our game a bit. So they did have a few chances in the end, and then right at the end we had a few more chances as well. So very nail-biting at the end. I think I must have had about 4 heart attacks on the sideline. Kept shouting out to the referee, how long left, how long left? I must have been doing like a between 15-minute, 14, 30-minute countdown, really. So, yeah, it was a great result, so fantastic for us.
It is a must-win as well. We discussed that last week, that out of the 3 teams, 2 teams are going to go down, and if you don't beat those teams, then obviously you're staring at the relegation battle itself.
Exactly. Realistically looking at it, I was actually looking at the league table. I think you can. It's a really entertaining league because you've got a battle of relegation between 3 teams, but you've also got 4 teams that could actually potentially win it as well. Yeah. And there's only about 3 points difference in them as well. So I'm hoping it's going to go to a last game decider, and you can see 3 teams fighting it out for promotion and possibly even for relegation as well, like you were saying. So.
I think it's interesting. I know, Kamruz, you've been with the ILFL for so long, and we never had come across this situation that last year's champions are in the relegation and potentially could get relegated. I'm not sure if that's happened in the past.
Well, this is the beauty of football and grassroots football, isn't it? It's whoever wants it most. It's like a cup game almost. If you don't want it and if you're not planned and prepared, this is what could eventually happen. It's never happened before, you're right, and let's hope it doesn't happen this time round, but there is a likelihood that it might happen, and it's the first.
That's what I was going to say, because that result yesterday kind of like put them in the bottom, not bottom 3, but bottom of the league. For a club of that size, with their history, with their reputation, this could be a massive shock to the system for the footballing, from the Sunday Football League itself.
Totally agree. Their prestige, London Tigers are massive. Everyone knows them as potentially usually favourites to win the league.
And to be a champion from previous year, and to be in that situation, not many games to go, so we could be looking at a massive shock in the league itself.
It will be. That's what I mean. Very interesting.
They have changed, though. They have changed the entire squad.
We said that beginning of the season. A new manager comes in. He's got new players, different approaches, but there's so many weeks you can say that. First 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, in the first 3 months, we said, you know what, he's going through a change, he needs time. But now we come to the business end. You can't be in a position to use that as an excuse, because every team has many changes. Like Hawken Eagle has changed as well.
Yeah, we also.
But I can understand if the results are going, but to be at bottom with only 3 points, you can't just use that excuse, as a new manager, because he's been there from September, and we're in end of January now. So he needs to get results, and he's under pressure. He'll be heavily under pressure.
He certainly is. As you mentioned that you've had plenty of chances, and I've been to some of the games, and yes, every week, every game, you have your fair chances, but what is it that's not going? Why aren't the chances converted into goals?
A combination of things. Possibly it could be the formation we're playing. I play 1 striker up front, so maybe the striker's not getting enough support. That could be one of the reasons. In terms of chances as well, sometimes the players, they do miss potentially open goals as well, sitters as well, as we call them. So I blame sometimes on the forwards as well. So it's a combination of forwards, maybe the actual structure of the layout of a team in terms of not playing enough strikers. I'll say mainly those 2 reasons, possible reason why we're missing the chances, to be honest.
So what was the difference this Sunday? It was a great win, and it was a much needed win.
Well, we actually just want to say congrats to Faisal as well, who actually scored his first goal in 2 years.
2 years.
So he was so ecstatic about that. That just shows you all. A player that hasn't scored for so long, that's actually scored our winning goal, 1-0. And us having other chances that we didn't bury. And some of them were a few sitters as well, a couple of half chances as well. But yeah, the strikers should actually be burying the chances that we did have. So I do blame partly the strikers.
What's changed in the Hawk and Eagles setup? I mean, in previous years, they're always there and thereabouts with the favourites and, you know, always achieving results. Last year was their first year in the Prem, and understandably they were finding their feet. And this year again, it seems to be that they're in that same situation.
Yeah, I mean, the main change is prior to me joining Hawk and Eagle, there was a lot of players that were really, really good qualities, i.e. semi-pro, some of the actual players, and we lost a lot of them. Now, when you take a bulk of semi-pro quality players out of the team, we were talking, I think, last week or a couple of weeks ago, about needing match-winning players. We lack that. Our strength now is actually working as a team, working as a unit. If you don't have match winners in your team, you can't bring fear into the opposition. The opposition fear match winners. You can't actually, when an opposition sees you, they can't actually pinpoint and say, look out for that player, look out for that player. And if you don't get them, you know, opposition saying that, then, you know, that's where you are going to struggle, because their confidence actually raises as well, the opposition's. And I think that's what's happened mainly.
Well, change is always good. I know you've lost key players and some potential match winners. But so, you know, where are you on the route to change and bringing back everything to where it was?
I mean, we've won, I think, 3 games so far. So I'm still tinkering with the actual players. I'm slowly getting used to finding the right combination of players in terms of their positioning as well. Trying to just basically test out players in different positions, rotating the squad a bit. We've got a massive squad as well, even though, you know, we've recruited a lot of players, but I'm just trying to test out and see where players best fit.
That's a strength in itself, isn't it? You'd find on the Sunday League that most teams barely come out with 11, 12 players, yet Hawk and Eagle FC come out with 4 or 5 subs every week, week in, week out. So that's a strength itself.
Yep, no, it's a good tester for me as well, in terms of, you know, it's mind-boggling having to actually make subs, you know, choosing players, not choosing certain players. So it is tough in terms of that aspect as well. You got to do it, but I think we just need a bit more quality. That's the only thing that we just slightly lack. But in terms of having a massive squad, it's great to actually have 16 players, you know, turn up week in, week out. It's a must. It's a must need really in this Premiership.
Great. And the other league game from yesterday was
POI versus
Redcoat. Okay, how was that, Rash?
Well, we expected Redcoat, the way they've been playing all season, to be firing all cylinders. They've been banging in 7, 8 goals every game. So on paper, it's expected to be a clear, easy win for Redcoat. But Parasbai, we spoke about him on a few occasions. What he has done with PIO this season is amazing, because they've completely changed from last season. Last season, were kids all age 17, 18, but now they seem disciplined, organised, and they actually proved a point to Redcoat. They actually drew 2-2. And from the feedback I got, I saw him after the game, and he was telling me they had a lot of chances that could have and should have got the 3 points, but credit to them for getting a draw against a very convincing Redcoat, who more or less are promoted to the Premiership. They're sitting top with, I think, 7, 8 points clear from the 2nd, 3rd position. So it's a credit to PIO, credit to Parasbai for getting a outstanding result. A 2-2 draw against league side like Redcoat is a credit to the team and management itself.
Well, both teams doing well. Good luck to both for the season. Now, on to the cup competitions, the Interleague Champions Cup and the Interleague Challenge Cup, which is a new thing with an old concept. So let's start with the Champions Cup.
We had 2 fixtures yesterday. We had Shakespeare from Hackney Leighton and versus Al Huda from Musical League. Shakespeare won 3-2 that game. Shakespeare, I think, deserved the win. First half 3-0 up. Al Huda came back in the second half. But I think it was too much too late in my opinion. Shakespeare was stronger, faster, and I think they took the foot off the gas in the second half. But again, I think Shakespeare looked good. They are one of the sides that could potentially go to the final, if not to win it. So they will be one of the teams to look out for. The other team, Bromley, played in the morning fixture. They actually went 5-4 against roving reporters from the Barnet League, which is again a credit to ILFL, another team in the hat for the semi-finals. And the third fixture which was played was Ace versus Northumberland, again a team from the Barnet League. Ace, that was the best game for my opinion. It was a 2-0, and in the penalty shootout, Ace won it by 4-2. But both teams gave everything. The level of football was excellent to watch, and it was end-to-end stuff. But from the ILFL's point of view, we've got another team in the semi-final. So we've got Bromley, we've got Ace, and potentially next week there's a fixture between Mylan versus Reach Out. Another
two strong sides.
A representative from ILFL and Hackney, so one of them could obviously join those 3 teams in the semi-final, which we hopefully will be doing the draw next segment. The other competition, the Challenge Cup, where we invited teams from Hackney Leighton and Barnet League. The team that played yesterday was Stepney B from ILFL versus Brazilian Boys. Stepney B, I think, was scared or slightly under pressure.
Very contrasting, young boys versus almost veteran players in the Brazilian Boys.
Unfortunately, that's what we thought, but when the team turned up, they came with the whole family. They had about 100 people there with their wives, their kids, family members. There was more people on the sideline. There's more people on the sideline than the pitch. So it's great to see that when a team bring the family to support and watch the game. So that was really refreshing to watch.
Must create a nice atmosphere.
It was a very nice atmosphere, and I think the expectation was high. Being Brazilian Boys, I think the Stepney B kind of felt a bit pressured and wanted to stay back. Once the Brazilian Boys took one lead, Stepney B started playing, and they came back. But at the end, I think they got tired and they couldn't keep up with the pace. But credit to Stepney B, they fought, gave everything. I know if they started off with that mentality, they started off in the second half, they started right from the beginning, maybe it's a lesson learned. Do not underestimate your own strength. Give 100% and try from the first minute rather than a bit later in the second half. But Brazilian Boys won 3-1, so they're into the next round. And again, in the next segment, we can do the draw and see what teams will be progressing in the next rounds.
Right, for everybody out there who has joined us new or doesn't know what the 2 competitions are, the Champions Cup is obviously a tournament for the cream of the cream, the elite of local football. So these are the best teams, the winners of individual leagues that are the ILFL, which is us. There's the Hackney and Leighton League, the Musical Association League, and the Barnet League. Yeah. So Rash, I'm sure you can add a bit more to that competition and
well, I think
what it means.
Yeah, that's the most prestigious cup for me, for any team or players or manager to win the Champions Cup. That proves the point that you didn't just win or are successful in your own league, in your own area, but you actually, to win that cup, you have to beat the best out there from other leagues. So that's the most prestigious. And I think we took the concept with the Challenge Cup, we're providing for the first division and second divisions, for them to experience that, play against other teams, etc. And I think, and every teams are enjoying the concept of playing against different teams from different leagues rather than your everyday normal teams.
Well, it's a bit like equivalent to the Champions League.
That's what it is, yeah.
It's like the elite of the league.
Okay, gents, thank you. We'll reconvene there when we come back from a short break. Stay with us. The 2 draws of these cups are yet to come in the second segment.